I want to share a book with you. The book is We Are the Gardeners. If anybody's watched HGTV's Fixer Upper, this book is by Joanna Gaines and her kids. They have a TV show where they fix houses, but she also became an author. How cool is that? So many things that you can do. So this book is a great one, and one of my favorite parts of this book is her illustrations. Illustrations are the pictures, and these pictures are absolutely beautiful. So I hope you enjoy following along with this book. I'm going to do my best to show you all the pictures while I read. So We Are the Gardeners. All right, here we go. We Are the Gardeners. That's a pretty official title, but we didn't start out that way. Just like our garden, we started out small and grew from there. Some say that a garden just grows from seed, but we think it grows from trying and failing and trying again. A garden is hard work, but so is most of the good, important things in life. Our family's garden story begins with one small potted fern. Dad stumbled upon it in a hardware store when he ran in for some supplies. He said it was just too cute behind, and he thought it would make Mom smile. And it did. We chose a sunny window for a pretty little fern. It seemed like a good safe spot for him to grow. This was back when we were little kids, but we still remember visiting the plant each day to give him a drink and sometimes even whisper to him a bit. And then, plot twist, out of nowhere, our fern died. Death by overhydration. That's a fancy way of saying we gave him way too much water. Looking back, each one of us must have watered him every day. That's a lot of drinks for a little plant. By mistake, we loved our plant to death. Some people tell themselves they are not good at something after one small failure, but no chance we are going to give up that easily. So we checked out some books from the library, and we found out that ferns can be tricky and prefer to live in a shady spot. Apparently, a plant's leaves can communicate to us what they are needing. We also learned that most plants have good manners and like to sip, not gulp. Lesson learned. Dad got us a fresh fern, and with it came fresh hope. This time, we set the pot on our patio, way on the other side of the room where the sun wouldn't give him so much attention. We made a watering schedule. We took turns saying a lot of nice things to our little sprout of a plant, and the fern number 2 lived and thrived and grew, and finally Mom got him a little potted friend, and then another, and then 1 or 2 more. But we noticed that talking to our plants actually helped them grow bigger and stronger, so we added some songs and jokes into the mix. Unlike when we overwatered, 0 plants died from us talking too much. Pretty soon, plants were taking over our house, and Dad said it was time to graduate to an outdoor garden. Mom was so excited about our new outdoor garden as we were, and she started talking about it with a dreamy look in her eyes. That's when Dad called a family meeting so we could come up with a real plan. We gathered around the kitchen table and got some work, dreaming, planning, and drawing things out. We knew we needed a sunny spot, a place where plants could sunbathe for at least 6 hours a day. We'd be red as radishes if we did that, but plants just love it, and more than that, they need it. In the garden, there is no life without light. Dad always says that a foundation is the most important thing when it comes to building a house. A house can't be strong if it's built on something weak, and the same holds true to the garden. So to make the foundation of our garden strong, we filled it with something called soil. Good soil, which includes a bunch of tiny things called organisms, can grow things in it. That's pretty amazing when you stop and think about it. A whole hidden world of life is hidden beneath our feet. Just because we can't see the good thing with our eyes doesn't mean they're not there. And another cool thing about soil is that it feeds and strengthens the seeds we sow, and then, like a miracle, plants and flowers burst out of the ground. We also knew we needed our garden to get plenty of water. Rain is the very best plants to drink, but it's hard to know when and if rain is coming. So a couple other options to keep plants hydrated are to collect rainwater or use a sprinkler or garden hose to get the job done. Once we had a location with plenty of sun, good soil, and watering plan, we got right to work. First things first, seeds. The most fun part of planning out our garden was deciding what to plant. We started with foods we like to eat, like strawberries and tomatoes, and then we chose some pretty flowers to keep them company. The thing about seeds is that they're everyday miracles. Everything a plant will grow up to be is already hidden inside the seed. We chose flowers like zinnias, sunflowers, and cosmos so that the pollinators would visit our garden. Butterflies, hummingbirds, and bees spread pollen around from flower to flower, encouraging even more things to bloom. We like knowing that little helpers are out there in nature working with us to help our garden grow. The bees must have put the word out that we had a pretty good thing going, because sure enough, all sorts of critters started to arrive. We quickly found out that there were 3 types of bugs in our backyard: the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's start with the worst part. It's a pretty sad day when the aphids arrived. They are some of the more well-known villains in the garden world. They suck the life right out of our plants. But then ladybugs showed up to eat those pesky aphids for lunch. Ladybugs are for sure part of the hero camp, bravely protecting our plant friends from harm. And we've got to tell you about earthworms. They're like the secret agents of the garden. Earthworms eat all of the dead things, like roots and leaves, and turn them into life for the soil. Every time we found one, we would all high-five and celebrate. They aren't pretty, but who cares? They're awesome, and we love seeing them hard at work. We realized pretty quickly that we needed to keep the weeds out. They're the true bullies of the garden. Weeds try to steal water, sunlight, and nutrients from our fruits and vegetables, and it's our job to make sure those little rascals don't take over. If we ignore the garden for too long, the weeds run wild and hurt our beloved plants. It's so much easier to just do a little bit every day. We were officially gardeners and had a real-life garden to prove it. The garden became our pride and joy. Day in and day out, we tended to our plants, making sure they got plenty of sun and water. Every time a new plant sprouted up from the ground, our excitement grew right along with it. As time passed, our garden grew bigger, and so did our family. When our garden was finally in full bloom and growing tall, we ran through the aisles and watched the butterflies flutter around us. But one day, as we were mid-skip, we noticed some trespassers helping themselves to lunch. And by lunch, we mean half of the garden. Animals may look cute and innocent, but some have a sneaky side. They can wipe a whole garden in no time flat. The chickens ate the vegetables, the goat ate mom's roses, and the bunnies weren't picky at all. They ate anything in sight. Saying goodbye to that many happy plants was even harder than throwing away our very first dead fern. We debated if we should just give up. Was it really worth it all to start over again? Then we remembered one important detail. We are the gardeners. It is our responsibility not only to grow this garden, but also to protect it. So we put up a little fence to keep the animals out and got work rebuilding our garden. It didn't take long to get our plants and flowers growing tall again. To this day, our favorite days are when we get to gather the fruits of our labor. Mom loves to set the table with pretty flowers in every color you can imagine. We help her dream up recipes for the food we've grown. Sometimes we see all of that beauty laid out. We can't believe our hands helped bring it to life, and it makes all the hard work worth it. It keeps us coming back day after day, season after season. So, there are many lessons waiting to be learned and a whole world of gardening ready to bloom. We are the gardeners, and you can be too. I really, really, really hope you enjoyed this story, and have a wonderful rest of your day, everybody.